Did you see that picture I sent you?
I'm just looking at it right now.
What does that look like?
Okay, it looks like someone left the back door open of a building.
Yeah.
And then, for some reason, I don't know.
For some reason, I think it's not the health code to let your dough for your pizza thaw out outside on a table.
Oh, it's pizza dough on a table?
Yeah, outside the back.
Outside.
Thawing out. And look, there's even a drink with a straw next to it. You can't do that. The germs that you get, you can't have a drink next to the food, raw food.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that place is, but I'm going to drive around and see the name of it.
And see what the name of it is. Yeah.
No wonder I get sick from going to restaurants.
How much questionable shit is going on in restaurants, I wonder?
Oh, my God, it's so much. God. It's so much.
You should post that online is what you should do.
When I worked in a restaurant, cleaning business, I couldn't eat in a restaurant unless it was a Jewish restaurant because those are impeccably clean. White glove clean. But every other restaurant, I couldn't eat in for years. In fact, if you remember I would go in.
Well, you're saying the kosher ones, the ones that are kosher are legit.
Kosher kitchens are the bomb, dude.
That's the only one you really should be eating in. I'll tell you, I'm not even Jewish.
We almost don't even, in comparison, okay, we'd go in and clean because, like, you have to have the hood clean by code, like, once a year, regardless of its conditions. So that's the only reason we were in there. Well, they would have us steam clean their appliances, okay? Only the kosher kitchens ever had us steam clean their appliances. Well, everyone should have had us do it, but these things were so clean. When we're done, now we're talking a commercial kitchen, not a regular kitchen. They would have a pastor come in with a white glove, and he would pick up the burners under these stoves, and if he could find a spot, he would make us clean it. It had to be 100%. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
No other kitchen even comes, even...
You mean the rabbi? I think you mean?
What did I say?
You said the pastor.
Oh, yeah, the rabbi. Yeah, and every other kitchen needed to be cleaned.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know how to explain it. Their kitchen they could have left alone, and they were 10 times cleaner than after we left the other places. You know what I mean? The level of cleanliness that we were allowed to leave at other restaurants was 10 times worse than the day we walked into those ones. And here's another thing. And every single Chinese place, I don't know why they do this, but they leave a big bowl of rice out in the middle, right in the middle of the kitchen, like the main cutting board, even though the place is closed. And the only thing I could think is, so you're getting day-old rice for sure, I know that. And the reason why I think they do it is it makes it clumpy so you can grab it with the chopsticks. That's what makes it not so individual pieces of rice. Like if you cook Chinese food at home, you're like, the rice is always like you can't pick it up with chopsticks. Well, the problem with that is they leave it open. I see bugs crawling on it. We're cleaning this kitchen while that rice is sitting out there. Never paid attention to. They never even thought, hey, we got a cleaning crew coming. Let's cover this rice even.
Yeah, it says here that there's a bacteria that can form on rice called Bacillus cereus, and they survive. The spores survive during cooking, and it'll regrow, and the toxin it makes you can't get rid of from reheating.
Whoa.
It's like it's a toxin that is bad for you.
See? And I get sick of China.
They said you shouldn't even leave it to cool on the counter.
Wow.
You should put it right in the fridge when it's done.
Every time I go to a Chinese place, I get the shits.
Oh yeah, I can't even eat Chinese food.
It's
but here where I live,
it's probably from that rice. have some fresh rice. Get the brown rice. I think they make that right away or something. So don't get the white clumpy rice. The clumps is the bacteria, an excretion.
It's holding the rice together like it's fermenting.
That's terrible, right?
Well, yeah. Or even worse, the Chinese buffets. I mean, I've never even been to one, but everybody at my work goes to these Chinese buffets at lunch because they're all fat, everybody I work with. So they go in there, all these 5 guys go together at lunch. When they walk in there, the Chinese owner must have a heart attack looking at these 5 fat fucks walking in. He's like, don't you have a skinny friend you can bring?
Right. I told you, too many egg rolls. Now you pay twice. You're two size guy. You're size of 2 men.
Yeah, they should charge you based on your weight.
Yeah.
At buffets, like when you walk in, you step on a scale, and they're like, dude, no way. Sorry.
Yeah, you're paying.
You're $25. You're $25.
They look at me, and they're like, they give me the children's half-off price. They're like, this dude couldn't possibly eat any. I bet he doesn't get dessert. They're all betting in the kitchen. Yeah, we were right. He filled up on the entree.
Well, whenever I'm stuck going to one of them places, I always just gravitate to the taco bar and just make myself a couple tacos. Because of all the food there, to me, that looks the best. I'm like, fuck. Whenever I have a choice of tacos, it seems like that's what I go for.
One of our subjects of the day is...
Yeah, don't even bother.
And you really got to ask a question if you're asking that dude. Can't you Google it first before we ask him?
Sometimes when I'm on the call and I get a really stupid question, like someone will be like, how wide is a certain item? Like how many inches is it wide?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, here's what I say to him. I say, well, let me run to Google, get the spec sheet. That's what I tell him. So hold on a minute. It's like, dude, any idiot with a phone could figure this out in 3 seconds.
Right.
And you're actually getting on a phone, calling me,
exactly.
Having me look it up to tell you. It's like, I'm like, man, you got some issues.
Okay, back to...
I don't want you installing my equipment because something's wrong with you.
Our subject of the day, or one of them, was the fact that I personally, I don't know about today, but I'm pretty sure it's going on. When I was in school, teachers never put any emphasis on your specific talents that are recognizable. And I'm sure through testing, they do that testing, they should be able to tell what areas you're better at. They just try to throw the same education at everyone, even though, like, maybe one guy fails math all the time. And then by 5th or 6th grade, you think the teachers could say, well, we know he's not going to be a scientist or an engineer. He can't even do fractions. Yeah. But he could do 17 pull-ups with one arm. Maybe we should give him some pamphlets for gymnastics or something, something in that route. Maybe he's going to be an athlete and not use his brain to make money.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, it's great to make someone a rounded person. But to force them and beat them into something that they don't excel in, when they might excel in something else, and you could nurture that with his time,
right?
It just seems stupid not to nurture people's talent.
Exactly.
It almost seems so. And here's why it happens. I'll tell you. I know exactly why this happens. Because the teachers in each subject are gonna like, what do you call it? They're not gonna allow the giving up of the students, because that's their bread and butter. It's
right.
Like, I mean, let's say we know half the kids aren't going to understand math. So don't make half of them take it.
Right. Just a certain amount of math to the level where they're going to go to, addition, subtraction, multiplication, stuff like that. But don't ever teach them algebra, because if they can't understand it, they can't understand it. I was talking to this guy. I never could understand it. And he said, my mom's the same way. She says, I never need algebra. He goes, and I don't even know if he was lying to me. This is how much I don't understand about math. He says, say you get in your car and you got to go to work, and you're like, I'm going to pick the closest route in my brain as to how to get there. He goes, that's an algebra problem.
That's not true.
Well, then he doesn't even know it.
No, but you're right. He's right, though, in what his premise is. His premise is you're using algebra every day and you just don't know it. Here's a better example. He just gave you a terrible example. A better example is, let's say you were going to buy, they said 10 oranges are $3. How much is each orange?
Right.
How much is each orange? 10 of them is $3.
It would be 3 divided by 10.
Yeah, $3 divided by 10. That's an algebra problem. That's how simple. You're doing that every day. They just put it on paper and make it sound complicated. Now, his problem is funny. It's called the salesman problem. The salesman problem cannot be calculated. And they're trying to do it. And they're getting better at it because machines, it can't be calculated by a human. Let's just say that. Machine calculation now is so complicated.
Right.
But let's not get off subject, because the subject, I tend to do this. The subject is teachers who don't want to help students with certain abilities move, they're being forced to take things they're never going to be good at. Wasting all that time.
Right. Here's an example. Instead of keep giving me the same math class that I fail over and over, but when I get an A in art, stop giving me math and give me more art. See? Because I never really got that interested in art, because of course I was a kid. I never thought about, could art be a profession and whatever. You know, I'm thinking
you could have been a graphic designer. Then they should have put you in graphic design class at your first class. Your second class would have been like college.
Would have required
first
no
period
math.
would be graphic design. Second semester would be drawing. Third semester might be sculpture. Maybe fourth is history, because of course everybody's got to learn that.
Well, they right away they say, well, you have ADD. No, maybe math is boring the shit out of me, and I'm the kind of guy that if you threw a hunk of clay in front of me, I'd be totally paying attention to what's going on.
Yeah, you can learn how to make pottery.
Yeah, but when you keep throwing this math that I don't understand at me all day long or whatever, and you say, well, he's not paying attention. Well, yeah, he's not paying attention. You're right. But he would have paid attention to an easel with a thing of oil paint and a brush and put all his attention to that, and you could have never said he wasn't paying attention. In fact, maybe I could even be teaching stuff to people.
Yeah, exactly. You would have been an art teacher.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then here's what they do. Like you said, they have already determined what you want to pay attention to, and then criticize you for not paying attention to it. It's like, what the fuck is that? That's almost like Nazi Germany. It's like let's.
I don't have attention deficit disorder. You just got nothing I want to hear coming out of your mouth.
Yeah, exactly. Tell me something I want to hear, and then maybe I'll pay attention.
Exactly.
It sounds like you're not. You're blaming your boring mouth on me not wanting to pay attention.
That's exactly what it is, and nobody really recognizes. They look at ADD as a sickness or an issue, when maybe it's a superpower. Like, yeah. I have more going on in my head where your boring shit you're saying, I just lose track. Where other people can sit there and pay attention to you because they don't have enough going on upstairs to need to be satisfied any further than your monotone voice right now.
If anything, you're right. Your brain is already telling you that this is something I don't care about.
Yep.
The people that are sitting there and learning it just as like, what do you call it, like herd mentality learners, kind of like me, like a herd mentality learner. I just go with the herd. I learn it because they're telling me to. And I don't have the brain power to tell me, hey, let's just focus on this one thing, and this is what I'm good at. Let's just focus on that.
So here's what I figured. Because I saw that show where they figured out everybody's brain is different no matter what. No two are alike, almost like a fingerprint. So we're all thinking a little different. And like you said, so a jury of your peers is really not accurate because they aren't thinking the way you are or whatnot. So here's my.
Well, there's an average. Well, there's going to be an average commonality.
There is, but so if you this is going to go into another idea. So say say you're in a relationship or you're meeting someone or whatever. You wonder why, like, you meet 4 or 5 girls and you're like, she's cool, but, you know, it's just really not clicking. Then you meet the one chick, you know who she is, and you're like, damn, I really click with her. And looks usually don't have all that to do with it. It's just pure personality. And then 2 people, usually a guy and a girl, they click real well, and they may not click with other people. But I could meet 7 chicks, they're all cool as hell, but then that one is just, for some reason, and it has nothing to do with money, looks, nothing. Just, you 2 just click real well. Then your brains must have been as close to as they could have been, you know? They're not exactly.
You're assuming, well, no, you're just assuming that being that close to somebody is what's desirable to that person. It may be the opposite. Maybe genes don't work that way. Maybe there's something in that person that's just enough different than you that makes her attractive.
Whatever it is,
because,
there's something.
Well, because here's what. Evolution is trying to create diversity. And so what it's doing is the person is just unique enough to you where evolution now says, hey, this is going to create a little more diversity if I hook up with this person. And so many things are driving your brain. Like, here's something I learned today that I didn't know. This is very similar to what you're talking about with the ADHD and all this bullshit. When you sit in a cube all day and type like I do, like a boring job, I'm not making something with my hands, so my brain isn't rewarding me. Because evolution is telling our brains, if you do something and accomplish something with your hands, you get a reward in your brain, like a good feeling. And this is what makes humans evolve to be better, because we're doing things better and getting rewarded for it in our brain. Well, over sitting in cubes for long times like I have, there's no reward in that. So over time, your brain just gets more depressed, more unrewarding feeling. It's like, hey, what am I going to work every day with no reward every day? And it's an evolutionary thing. That's why I have to quit my job. I literally do, because I can't do this anymore. I can't sit in a cube anymore, and it's just making me depressed. You know?
Right.
It's your brain. Your brain is, it's an evolutionary thing, and it's trying to evolve.
It's gotta be, because look, I have like 7 people on this job site coming and going and whatever, right? Three people are helping me. You know, other people just work other things. But the bottom line is, when you see this barn after it's done, okay, they all 7 of those people, somewhere in their brain are saying, look what Anthony just built. Along with me, knowing, hey, I just built that, and you guys, you know, you needed me to build it. You were here, of course.
There's something, though, physically with the way you're using your hands that triggers something in your brain. It's like when you concentrate on something and then you use your hands to do it. It's totally different. And if you don't have something like that in your life, then your brain is just going to totally turn into just a piece of depressing mush of nothing. It's what's made us evolve. Otherwise, we would have never built anything. You know, there would have been no desire to build things and make things good.
We're at that point where nothing's new anymore. Unless it's like, hey, the i10 phone, whatever, came out. You're like, well, what the fuck does it do that the i9 didn't do?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it has 3 more pixels. Oh, so now when I send a picture to my friends, their phone can't open it.
Basically,
like,
right.
Their phone sucks. I got to meet new people now that have good phones. You're based on, everyone's going to be judged by their phone. Oh, you're one of those.
It's already happening now. Are you kidding? I mean, look at my little phone. They think I'm rephoned.
What I did was, when I lost my last phone, I asked the chick to pick out my new phone, find little Betty behind the counter. Because I figured, hey, if this is what that chick likes, what phone would you get? Then other chicks are going to be like, hey, he's got a cool phone. And I don't know the difference. You could take your pixels and show them right up your ass. I just want the phone that girls are looking at. And you know what? Dude, when I got the phone, my daughter's like, man, that's a cool phone. So maybe it works. Because I'm like, if I'm going to pick it based on, first of all, the price is one thing. I want to stay around this range. And what's the difference? I'm basically like between these $500 phones, and don't just tell me the name. I want to know the difference. And apparently there is really not much of a difference. It's just the way it looks, even now, the way the phone looks. Because it's got like a copper edge around it, and it's super thin. Like, it's the new... People are like, you should get it.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, why did I buy a phone that's an 1/8-inch thick just to put it in a fucking case and make it this gigantuan, stupid fucking phone? You guys walk around with your cases. I said, you know what? I just got the insurance. They're like, what if you break it? I'm like, well, how much is your case? $30. Well, the insurance is $5 a month. So I'm probably ahead. I look cooler. I'm not worried a bit about this phone.
Take all the case money and buy insurance with it.
Yeah, I'm not. And in about 6 months to a year when I'm caught up, I'm about going to break this thing anyway. So I'll be due for my new one. Your big old stupid case. And those dudes that have like a big plastic thing clipped on their waistband. It's like, dude, it's a modern day fanny pack, mother. You look like a dork. Big old plastic clip thing for your phone. Can't you just put it in your damn pocket like the rest of the people?
A lot of people have this little suction cup thing on the back now that they hold.
Yeah.
It's easier to take pictures and do shit. I don't know why they do that, but it's common. I don't even know what that thing's about.
Novelty items you buy at the gas station to make some dude rich.
Yeah. So in conclusion here, because every subject now has to have a start, a middle, and a conclusion.
Okay.
So in conclusion, what is our conclusion about what teachers are doing to kids and education?
Here's our conclusion. Years ago,
what's the solution? What's the solution? Okay. That's what I want to get to. In the conclusion, we should have a solution.
When they give you your academic tests or whatever those tests you have to take for a week every year, they should take that information and put you in appropriate class based on what that test came out to be. And if you're just lazy and not taking the test like I was, I don't even give a shit, just marking shit down, then you got to put me in art or sports or something from that.
Yeah, it's like once you fail 2 math classes in a row, they should realize at that point there should be a mathematical formula built in the system that says, hey, this dude needs to be focusing either in journalism, in graphic design, let's say fashion. Let's pick a list of shit. There's a list so long. Math doesn't have to be everything. Actually, most jobs don't even have math. It's only the few math jobs that have math. All of the other jobs don't really have it.
The best jobs on the planet are professional sports, and they don't even barely touch that subject. I mean, of course, you could take track.
Well, they count their money.
You could take football in school, but they're not. There may be someone that isn't on the team that should be on the team, and they don't get that kid off because maybe his parents can't afford the physical fitness or physical for it or the equipment or whatever the cause is. This one kid can't do the sports, and he should be doing it. Then you have some little rich kid who his parents are flipping the bill, and he's got all the fancy sports equipment. He sucks at sports, but he's still on the team because, of course, he's going to be on the team just because of his popularity in the school, like the quarterback or whatever. The pitcher on the baseball team, that was always one certain guy. It was never just an average guy. It was like a above average personality type guy, like in the crowd of people. He wasn't the new guy. He was like the top runner of the clique. Was the quarterback or the pitcher.
Who cares?
You never knew the shortstop's name. You knew the pitcher of your baseball team's name.
What they should do is this. Listen, the problem with school is you have like math, science, history, English. And then when it comes to things like art, it's like an elective. It's not like a curriculum type thing. You should be able to pick your curriculum. It should be like, you want a math science curriculum? Here's your math science curriculum. If you want an English curriculum, and then they just give you a little bit of math in the English curriculum. Or if you want an art curriculum, you choose this. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Instead of saying, oh, it's more important, the more important classes are this one, the science class and the math class. And then the little fringe class is the art class, the industrial arts class. It's like, that's flipped around. We've made a society of people that are all one-dimensional. And then the ones, like you said, they can't excel in that area, they get left out, they feel rejected, they feel less.
The teachers literally put them down. They literally
here's an example. Here's an example. Let's say you had all art classes and a couple little classes spilled in there that you had to take, like history. And let's say you got an A in every single art class, right?
Right.
You know what your GPA would be?
Yeah.
It would be 3.5, 3.8. You would be in the top 20% of your class. But instead, you know what the top 10 and 20% of your class people are? It's all the math and science people, because they put so much weight on that math and science, and they all do good at it. So those people are always going to be in the top 10%.
Yep. That's my
it's a bunch
of this.
It's a whole bunch of stacked against people bullshit.
And it kind of goes both ways, but not quite. And based on what you said, because there's electives and then there's the mandatory classes. Well, here's an example. Say this fat kid next to me, he's getting an A on every spelling test, and I'm failing every spelling test. But when we get into gym and we're doing phys ed, I'm doing 32 pull-ups and he can't do one. So he fails that, and everyone makes fun of him, and they let him fail in front of everybody to make him a failure in that department. They never shore him up. They never go, hey, this guy's the best speller in the class. But they say, I'm the worst speller in the class. They always out the guys that suck at spelling or suck at pull-ups. But they never really shore up the people who are the best at it. There's a little reward. Oh, you got a star next to your name for getting another A on your test. Whippity. You know what I mean? There is no star for pull-ups because it's not a mandatory, So that kid's getting a star for science. He's getting a star on the board for spelling. This kid that sucks at science but could do 30 pull-ups, he doesn't have a name with.
Well, there's no job to do pull-ups.
I know, but
to me, I think. But if it was something in art, or if it was something it just seems like they minimize other subjects when they're just as important. I mean, do you know how much a real high-end graphic designer in New York makes for like a big magazine?
Probably a lot.
See, that's what I'm saying. Why not take a kid who's really good at art and say, dude, here's the steps you need to take.
Well,
learn this. Here's the people you need to meet to do this type of job.
Here's the job you get for doing 30 pull-ups. A football player, a baseball player, any real good sports, if one guy could do 30 pull-ups and the rest of the class can't, that's usually the guy that's better at kickball, he's better at running.
We have other mechanisms that get those people noticed in sports. Like if you're the best baseball player, I'm telling you right now, they're going to find you. You're going to get in a little league. Every team's going to want you.
Yeah, but if you never played baseball because you had to come home after school and watch your kid, your siblings, because your parents don't have money and can't afford a sitter. So you never got the shoes, you never got a bat and a mitt, and you came home every day and you made dinner for your kids, and you're a poor kid in a poor neighborhood, but you were the best baseball player, but no one noticed it because you didn't have the time to show them. Where this other rich kid, he's the pitcher, you're a better pitcher, but he's got the time to take that position, and a parent picking him up after practice and all that stuff.
Right.
That's the part where
it's not. You're saying that it's just not talent alone that gets you somewhere.
I'm saying that there's a lot of raw talent out there that doesn't get recognized due to the fact that the situation they're in doesn't allow it. You know what I mean? Like some kids are in every sport. They got the best shoes. They aren't even really the best. They just have the best shit and show up to every practice, have a mom that doesn't work that picks them up and stuff like that. And some kids can't do that. I remember getting on the school bus.
Well, look at like Serena Williams. Like, look at her and her sister.
Right.
if those two women had been born in any other, let's say, black neighborhood situation, would they have become two of the greatest tennis players of all time?
Probably not.
No. There's no inner city tennis club that they would have joined.
Yeah, that's my whole point.
So it just so happens their dad loved tennis. And he took them day after day, and they had raw talent, obviously. And then he nurtured that to the point where these two people, they were obviously the best tennis players in the world.
Right.
So if nobody had noticed that, though, you're right. If they had been in any other situation, probably of their life.
At 20 years old, if they picked up a racket, no one would know their name.
Yep.
No one would know their name.
That's true. Even though I can guarantee you that they're the best tennis players in the world.
Even with that talent. The only way there's certain sports that picking it up, like golf. Let's just say you were naturally talented at golf. You could step in.
Like Cal Peete.
Yeah.
Cal Peete never played golf till he was 20. He was a shoe salesman.
Right.
Because he was black, and in the 60s and 70s, no black people played golf, or you wouldn't even allow it in the club. It was segregated clubs. They didn't have a separate black golf course and a white golf course. Wouldn't that be funny? Like Jim Crow golf course. And so he decided to pick it up. He became a pro golfer from never playing golf.
Right.
And he was black. I mean, think about having things stacked up against you. Holy shit. A black shoe salesman. Some dude says, hey, why don't you come play golf with us? They're like, holy shit. Imagine if Cal Peete had been nurtured like Tiger Woods.
Exactly.
He'd have won 5 Masters maybe. Maybe one.
This is the answer to the problem, for instance, in Chicago. People always have a comment to make about Chicago who's never been there. So until you've been there for a while and hung out, then really your comment means nothing to me. Here's the way I see it. You have a bunch of people with nothing to do. It's kind of like these people overseas with the AK-47s, with the turbans. They got nothing to do all day, so they walk around shooting each other. That's the same thing that's happening in Chicago. You have a bunch of youth with nothing to do at all. They don't have the money to go do anything fun, so the only way they're going to get money is through a criminal activity, any significant amount of money, because public aid doesn't provide enough free cash to do anything. It's just barely keeping you on the couch.
And plus, it takes a parent to get up and, most kids aren't going to do things without any kind of guidance. Someone needs to tell them, hey, you need to get up and do this. It's not like it's not like you're born to know, I got to practice and learn tennis to become good at it. Someone had to tell you, here's a tennis racket, we got to do this every day. You need to serve 50 times a day if you're going to be a good tennis server. It's you don't know that from birth. There's a few savants out there that are just born with some kind of weird gift, but most people have to be nurtured.
When I was in track in high school, I was probably average to a little above average at what I was doing. No superstar. But I did it, because it was something I did. Well, then there were some kids from the ghetto that were really fast, and that was, they won. Some of these kids had basketball shoes on. Here I have the best pair of running shoes, spike running shoes with the steel spikes. This kid's running with basketball shoes. Well, then maybe the school will issue them a pair. They looked like they were from the 50s with half the spikes missing. So I remember one occasion that we were going to a big meet with 14 other teams, and I walked through the bus and I asked all my friends that were from the ghetto, let me see your spikes. They were some shitty shoes from the school, missing the spikes in the bottom. So I filled all their shoes up with spikes because I had a huge bag, because I was fortunate at that time and they weren't.
Yeah, we had the wrench and the spikes.
and they went from basketball shoes to a pair of 1950s vinyl running shoes with no spikes in them. And that day, I'm sure the coach didn't notice, but I bet they got a little better time when I put brand new spikes in their shoes. I bet they did, because we're talking fractions of a second.
Well, times have changed. Times have changed in that respect.
Well, sure, they have. But I'm sure if they all had the shoes I had day one, we wouldn't have lost a meet. This guy just beat you with basketball shoes. You got the best shoes on. So You are nowhere near this guy. Because if he had the right equipment, he would have left 10 feet between you and him. Not just barely making it to the line. That stuff matters huge. All equipment and stuff like that. And
well, it's the difference here. When you have two talented people and one person, and they're almost equally talented, and one person has better equipment.
Right.
Well, that was the difference. Yep. The difference was right, he had that little edge.
I could prove it to you. I weighed 120 pounds, and the school had a pole. It was real old for that weight, and it's in between 5 and 10 pounds, these poles difference. It's real. I can't remember the exact amount, but it's like 100 pounds to 120, and then the next pole is 120 to 140. There's not a huge difference in weight in between them. And
not a huge delineation.
It really matters that you're on the right weight pole. It really does. Unless you're super, super fast at sprinting, would you be able to use a pole that's over your weight? It won't even bend. So I had a 12-foot pole that had broke, and they cut like 1.5 feet off. So I'm using a 10-foot pole. Well, the kid next to me, who's 130 pounds, he's got a 14-foot pole. Well, the school wasn't buying any more 120-pound. They probably got that from the junior high. Just in case someone was as light as me, they would have a pole to even use. Now, if I was able to buy my own pole, or my parents bought me one, or whatever, I could afford it.
Like the people, like the two rich pole vaulters in our town.
Yeah,
we had two of the richest pole vaulters in all of Illinois.
And they
were in our school. They were millionaires.
They had their own 4 or 5 poles. They went to training camp every year. They went to which was like $600-700 to go for a week training camp at the college pole vault camp. They guarantee it adds a foot to your height. Guaranteed every time you go. It's really not fair the way they spread it out.
You know what's funny? I never thought of buying you a pole vaulting pole when we were in high school, but they go for about
$500.
$600. $500. You're right. They're still about the same price.
And they wouldn't do it.
You asked them? Oh, I had no idea. See how oblivious I was in high school?
I'm like, I could do 11.6 with a 10-foot pole that you plant in the ground 8 inches. I can't go any higher on this fucking little pole. I'm maxed out by the pole, not by the talent. I'm going to
I had no idea.
2 feet over the height of the pole I'm on. That's what you're supposed to do.
We could have done a GoFundMe for your pole.
They send a letter. We don't make a pole.
Back in 84.
We quit making 120-pounders.
Well, women, there have to be women in pole vaulting, and I'm sure you should have just bought a woman's pole.
The women could kick my ass right now because they got bigger pole than me.
Yeah. You got a woman's pole, dude.
You got a woman's pole.
Dude, put that pole away. It looks like a woman's pole.
Well, I could kick your ass with a woman's pole. I'll higher than you with this one.
All right, we got to go at 40 minutes. We're done right now.
We're at 40?
So we need to find a good way to end our show. No, that's like eat a piece of fruit. That's the way I'm going to end every show. Hey, everybody, eat a piece of fruit. That's good for you. It helps kill the toxins in your body.
It turns out this apple a day thing, look it up, is real. It's more
It turned out to be real.
It's super real.
Yeah, it takes the toxins from your dead cells out of your organs. But that's not a good way to end the show. So it's just eat some fruit and have a good day.
Do your poem. Eat a book and digest some knowledge.
Yeah, I stole that. I stole that from one of my friends. And then what was funny is not only did I steal the saying. Oh, did he go? You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I also had somebody else draw the picture for my poster. So I got an A on that project without drawing the picture or making the saying.
See, your talent should have been you should have been the boss, when they're talents.
I knew how to recruit the people I needed to make the sign the best.
Yeah.
I knew I couldn't draw. I knew I couldn't make up good sayings. Why waste the time of making a terrible poster?
If they caught you for that, they would have punished you for cheating. In fact, that's not cheating. That's showing leadership. You get an A in leadership and an F in personal.
Execution.
I think you should get an A all around, because if the thing was able to be the best poster, I'd say you did what it took. Everyone else drew it. You didn't say I had to draw it. You just said I had to make it. You didn't say how.
You just said I had to turn a poster in by this date.
Yeah.
That was the project.
Yeah, that was the project. So what I did was, knowing that I can't draw things, I enlisted my best friend for the drawing.
Which I did. And I stole the saying from my stepdad. So it was like a win-win. It was like, I was the best delegator is what I was in that project. They should have nurtured my delegation skills.
Exactly.
All right, have a good day.
Bye-bye.